All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started on Chapter 4, Technology for Diverse Learners. You know that the students that you and I have, they have all kinds of different backgrounds. They all learn in different ways. And so what do we do to meet the needs of those learners? First thing we can be sure of is that students are diverse in many ways: cultures, ethnicity, socioeconomic level, learning styles, multiple intelligences. They are all different. No two of them are the same. And based on all of those things. Now, students' abilities may call for additional attention and creativity to meet their needs. So you and I may not get it right the first time. So we got to be able to maybe come up with some new ideas and maybe some new procedures or processes that we can utilize to meet those needs of those students that obviously didn't get the information or didn't understand what it was which we were trying to get across to them the first time. And so a little more attention, a little more creativity in how we can accommodate them may be what we'll have to do. Now, let's take a look at students with special needs and students with exceptionalities. These can include both the students with disabilities that interfere with their learning and gifted students who are gifted and may need special instruction strategies to reach their potential. So we're basically looking at two sides of the spectrum. You may have those students that are their disabilities just keep them from learning. That just to learn just a little bit is a major operation and a major accomplishment when they can do it. But then on the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got those students that are genius level students that are gifted in many ways that can just soak up everything, and then they're always wanting more. They can be very difficult to handle because we may run out of things for them to do. But yet, if we want them to achieve their potential, we have to come up with some strategies that will keep them challenged and occupied. And obviously, the disabilities may be obvious or not. We just can't many times look at a student and see what category they fall under or see what their problems are. And so, who knows, they may not even be diagnosed. And you and I may be the ones to kind of notice what's going on and then maybe put the right people in place to be able to meet that need. But now, what can technology do? Well, it can play a special and effective role to support student needs. We can use that technology as part of the process of teaching and learning. It can also increase independence and participation in classroom activities. We have enough personal computers for them to be able to use. They can work at their own pace. They can be self-motivated, self-paced, and learn at a rate that would be comfortable for them. Too many times in a structured classroom setting, we are keeping some students that can move ahead very rapidly and do great work. We're holding them back because we're spending more time with those students that are struggling with it. And then we have those students right in the middle that can find their own pace of learning. And of course, technology can let us do that. But it's very difficult if we're taking a whole class of students to kind of teach to the middle, where we're kind of losing the two in groups, the gifted students and the ones who may have some major disabilities when it comes to learning. Technology can provide access to a standard curriculum. Many of our or I should say, at least much of our content can be put on the web for students to be able to access 24/7, and use that core curriculum to kind of build students' knowledge and skills. And then for those students that want more, we can give them more. We can enable students with disabilities that interfere with learning skills to demonstrate their understanding of subject matter. Maybe that technology can provide the spark and provide the way for them to express what it is that they know. Certainly, if a student may be deaf, or if they may very well be hard of hearing, that technology can supplement that and overcome that handicap, so they can communicate or else get the information that they're needing in a visual or auditory manner. Also provide a voice for students who cannot speak. We're going to be looking at technologies that will provide students with the opportunity to be able to communicate verbally. Enable mobility for those students who cannot move or have difficulty moving. If they have some kind of physical handicap that they cannot walk, then obviously there's technology out there that will provide that mobility in the form of wheelchairs or motorized wheelchairs and lifts that can get that done. Provide input modalities for those who cannot see or hear. If they want to be able to input information to a computer, if a student can't see, maybe they'll need something like a Braille typewriter and audio output so they can hear. Now, let's talk about augmentative communication. Our word processing application software has very powerful capabilities to support the needs of students with exceptionalities. And so programs like WordPerfect can accommodate those kinds of students. It'll give students with poor motor skills that can't hold a pencil or type easily the ability to create clear, legible documents. There's a number of ways that they can do that with a mouse or other technology. A wide variety of built-in options and features give students a wide range of control to create and revise documents. There are some input devices that follow the movement of the eye, whereby a student will just move that mouse with their eyes, and or with their head if they have no problem moving their head and shoulders. But if they have problems with moving their arms or controlling their hands, there are ways to overcome that with the technology that we have available to us. We have also concept mapping software that is used during brainstorming to capture ideas and allow students to manipulate them. I don't know how many of you have ever participated in a brainstorming session to come up with some ideas to be able to solve problems, but there are a number of ways, like scatter plots and other types of symbolic representations, like flow charts, to be able to allow us to be able to systematically, step by step, solve a problem. And so there's software to create those things, and students can utilize them very, very easily. It also provides structure and organization for the writing process. Uh, just a simple process of outlining information will help you to organize your thoughts, and then fill in with the details as you build your document. And then that concept mapping software kind of lets students see how abstract ideas are interconnected. You can draw inferences from those kinds of ideas and see how they connect and are interconnected with each other. And also supports students with disabilities by letting them brainstorm in diagram or outline mode. There's two modes that you could operate in with that type of software. And let's face it, maybe their bodies maybe have difficulties physically, but yet their minds are just as sharp as anybody else's. And certainly during the brainstorming process, they would have just as much, maybe more, to offer in the way of positive information, just as anybody else would. Now, let's look at augmentative communication and look at another type of software that's out there, word prediction software. Boy, could have used that a number of times. But this software will make an educated guess about the next word the student wants to type based on the first several letters of the word. So if they have problems spelling, they can kind of maybe type in the first few letters, and then that word prediction software will then kind of fill in with a word that may or may not be the one that they would want. For one thing, less typing would be required by reducing the number of required keystrokes to be able to type the word. And also, the software will allow for the creation of custom dictionaries, like, if we're talking about a specific occupation that has a vocabulary that's unique to it, then we can input those kinds of words and build that library for those students that would need that kind of terminology to be able to do reports and so forth. It also helps predict vocabulary for writing activities or the subject itself. One of the things that our students have to always do in vocational education is learn a new vocabulary that's unique to the occupation that they're studying. And so having that library of terms and definitions in place would certainly make that writing process a whole lot easier for handicapped or disabled students. And also, the software gives the capability to be able to sound out the word when the student selects it or points at it. They will be able to hear how it's pronounced, and then also work on their verbal skills. We also have what is called text-to-speech software, which will allow the user to be able to hear word by word, sentence by sentence, or entire paragraphs or documents. And I've seen one system demonstrated where there was like a little mouse. It kind of looked like a wand, and the student just passed it across every sentence, and the computer would basically read, and you could hear the words sounded out, and 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 so forth. And so it's a wonderful bit of software. It would certainly make it easier to review or proofread somebody's work, because sometimes you kind of miss punctuation or spelling errors or formatting errors. And certainly if you can hear the document, you can kind of say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense. Maybe I need to rewrite those sentences, or restructure that paragraph to make it more effective. And so sometimes and certainly one proofing method that's always been taught is to read what you've written aloud, so you can hear what it sounds like and pick up on maybe some errors. Then you got your talking spell checker software. It reads aloud misspelled words and suggests correct words. And then students can then make the right choice of the correct spelling based on the sound of the words, by sounding them out. Recorded books. They're appropriate for students who can understand material at their grade level but struggle when they have to read it. Let's face it, some students will have problems reading. If they can listen to the chapter, listen to the text, listen to the book, they can pick up on all of the main points. They also stop the recorder, reverse it, and then listen to it any number of times to be able to get the information. You have your high interest, low level books. They are alternatives that offer age or grade appropriate content presented at an easier reading level. And so these books would present information at a little easier, grade appropriate level that would not be as high as, let's say you've got a 10th grade level book. You may be able to get a high interest low level that might be at an 8th or a 7th grade level that someone could read and understand. And some books may highlight text as it's read. And so as you're reading it, you would see the highlighter come up to highlight that text that you're reading, to kind of give you an idea of how fast you're reading, and also where you are in the document. Narration is natural since it's digitized or recorded rather than synthesized text to speech. I'm sure you've all heard those computerized voices that just sound artificial and unnatural, really. In this type of situation, the book is recorded by someone speaking, living, breathing human being, and so it's just more natural than just that computer voice. Some other types of technology tools: scan or reading systems. They'll combine a computer scanner, optical character recognition software, and speech output, so you can scan and it will read everything that's there. As your text is read aloud, a display of it is provided on a monitor. Now, obviously, it's going to take some time to be able to scan all those pages, and the files, once they're built, could be very, very large and very difficult for the computer to process. But many sites offer text that's been converted to electronic format or e-text. So instead of having a paper book, they put it in digital form. And so like that, you don't have to go through the scanning process. All you have to do is just mark the text, let it read, and then that saves some processing time. Most literature in the public domain, like Shakespeare and all that, is available for free download. So you could probably go to any number of websites, maybe even the Library of Congress, and download some books for students, especially if you're an English teacher. That would be great. We also have what are called ALDs, or active listening devices. Students have difficulty hearing lectures and class discussion, often need some kind of support to help to augment that listening or hearing deficiency. Got two major types of active listening devices. First of all, is a personal amplification system. The student will wear a small receiver and sound output device around them, and it focuses on individual students. And so the student will have some speakers or headphones around them, and so microphone will pick everything up, and then it goes to the headphones. But now a sound field amplification system is basically where the teacher's voice is amplified by some classroom loudspeakers, and so you focus on the whole group of students rather than just one person. Now, we have devices that give voice to those who cannot speak. If a person can't talk, there are ways to be able to communicate non-verbally, but these can be quite, very inexpensive. Where it could be a homemade picture board where you'll have like food for lunch, or a picture for please, a picture for thank you, and things like that, and the student can point to those pictures and communicate through those pictures, versus technology that may cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And you and I need to know how they work to assist and support their students who use them. We may have those students that cannot talk for some reason or another, and may have to communicate in a whole different way, but can still get the work done. And so we'd have to make some adjustment in our lessons for those students who need more time or preparation for that class lecture or demonstration. Obviously, we're going to have to kind of change the way we do things to accommodate those students. Here are some input devices that your book kind of goes over: sticky keys, mouse keys, keyboard labels where commands can be printed there, key guards, have holes that increase the accuracy by allowing pressing only one key at a time, so the student can't press two of them at one time. They have to be able to press one key at a time in order to input information. And expanded keyboards, which are a little bit bigger and have bigger keys. They're easier to see the letters and numbers on the keys, and so we can use them as well. We also have mini keyboards, which would be smaller, maybe easier to handle for some students, but may have less keys that they have to punch and manipulate if their motion is limited. We can customize keyboards. You can get keyboards that you can program keys to do multiple things. You can utilize pointing devices in those types of systems. It can range from a dowel with a rubber tip held in a fist or mouth or attached to a headband to a more sophisticated system that engages an on-screen keyboard. So that student could take a headset with a dowel, attached to it, and then use it to type or select key strokes and commands. Now, you also have what is called a single switch, enable students who can control a single movement to control a computer. And so that switch will turn on, turn off multiple types of applications. And then finally, your touch screens. Wonderful bit of technology. So instead of having to type, all the student has to be able to do is put their finger on the key, on the monitor, and command applications to start and stop, and also pull up an on-screen keyboard. And so all they have to do is point at the letters or numbers that they wish to type. Now, what are some issues that we have to deal with in implementing this kind of technology? Well, first of all, we got to determine which technology solution will be the most effective. And to do that, we need some input from professionals like us, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech language pathologists, technical personnel, family members, and the student, him or herself. So we got to find out what would be the right thing to use. And then train everybody so that they're clear on what the technology can do and how the student's going to be able to utilize it. And so we also need to have some kind of collaboration between assistive technology personnel and information technology personnel. So the IT and assistive technology, or AT people, need to be able to talk together and understand what kind of capabilities that they have to be able to offer these students and to integrate them. Now, what about your gifted students? Well, computer technology can keep gifted students engaged even after they've mastered the course content that you and I have. Internet-based activities can provide access to innovative resources to broaden and deepen learning. These students are not satisfied with just the basics. They want much more. And gifted students many times need differentiated instruction to address unique needs for challenge and engagement. You know, you just don't want to have them reading stuff. You want them maybe creating something, being able to demonstrate something, use their hands to build something. So you're bringing in all of the learning styles: hearing, visual, psychomotor, and so you just want to give them as much as they can take. Now, what about our culturally and linguistically diverse students? Well, first of all, you got your English language learning students, which are one of the most rapidly growing student population in K-12 schools. And so English may not be their native language. Most are from Spanish-speaking backgrounds. Many other international heritages are represented. That's why the CLDs are the most appropriate is the most appropriate name to include all of these students in one group. They'll come from different cultures. They'll have different languages, and they can be from all over the place. Since Louisiana and the United States is really basically a nation of immigrants and a melting pot of a whole lot of different cultures. Now, educational technology is often underutilized for providing comprehensible input to CLD students. Remember, if they can't read English, then they got a problem. They need their information presented in their native language. Now, we've got the term scaffolding. That's defined as supporting learners by moving them beyond their individual baseline. Just as you add scaffolding to be able to move to a higher and higher and higher level, if you're laying bricks, well, that's what scaffolding is going to do. We want to move them to a better and better and better understanding of the English language or their communication skills, to want to build on those things. And certainly technology can give them the one-on-one support that they need, especially if we have a large number of these students. The technology can also be planned to target. The use of technology can monitor students' comprehension and intervene when needed. All of this wonderful ESL, English Second Language software that's out there, you and I as instructors can present the information to them, help build their English skills, and then through all of the exercises and practices that they have to do, we can monitor and see where they are doing well, seeing what areas that they're struggling in. It's no problem for us to be able to see those deficiencies and then intervene when necessary. But teacher awareness and preparation are critical. You and I just can't sit down and just wing this. We need to be prepared. We need to be able to monitor everything that's going on amongst these students. And certainly there are a whole wealth of resources out there to meet these culturally and linguistically diverse students. Now, one other thing that we have to kind of deal with is to move beyond using technology as a remedial tool. As a developmental teacher, I've used this technology this way. But you know what? We need to present new and challenging information the same way. The creative infusion of many ways technology can be used will help meet the unique needs of these students, CLD students. Because of all of the possibilities that we have with digital type of learning and digital type of media, we can really hone in on the needs that these students may have. Now, obviously, another thing we have to address is really the cost. This stuff doesn't come free in many cases. Of course, we have a wonderful resource at our fingertips called YouTube that has literally thousands and thousands and thousands of types of videos where students can see, especially those that are linguistically challenged, pretty much find their own information on their own language and hear English words spoken and then interpreted for them, and that's for free. So we don't have to spend a bundle on this. We just have to be smart and know what's out there. Now, one thing, student diversity is a reality that we all have to address. And that awareness of the many ways students differ is the first step to effectively meeting their needs. We know that they're all different. We know they all come with varying needs to us. And so it's just a matter of knowing them and seeing what we can do about them. Respect for and dedication to meeting diverse needs combined with careful planning are key. We've got to plan. And also we need to be able to show respect for these students, regardless of their exceptionality, and meet those needs as best we can. The Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, provides parameters to educators for designating learning that considers all students' needs. And so there's information out there that we can use. And the Center for Applied Special Technologies developed a framework for using technology to maximize learning opportunities for every student. So we can go to the CAST website and get some really good information that we can utilize. We don't have to do everything by ourselves. And so that will wrap up the lecture for chapter 4. And I'll start working on 5.